Hello, my little liars. We are going to recap Traitors Season 3, Episode 4. If you like reality TV and online drama, hit the subscribe button and give the video a like, as that's what this channel is all about. Let's get into the recap. This episode was definitely juicy. I am loving the way that this season is going for sure. I definitely was expecting a few of the things that happened today, but we'll get into that in a minute. So we start this episode off finding out that Gabby actually only saw Danielle, or rather heard Danielle. And so that instantly put Danielle on Gabby's radar, which didn't last very long, but we'll get into that. Dylan realizes that something's going on, so he enters the closet, and that's when he is like, something's different here. I gotta give Dylan a lot of credit. He really reminds me of Peter's pal, like the Bachelor Peter. The way that he is very much on the scent. He is very much seeing what's going down. He is very much paying attention. If I was a traitor, I would be voting him off quickly. Dylan went into the closet with Danielle, and in my opinion, the way Danielle was throwing off the scent was incredibly obvious that she did not want him to think that anything was going on, you know? So that was a little bit interesting approach on her behalf. Right after that, the traitors are called out to the yard to find out what really went down in that hidden closet. They are presented with the 3 coffins, and we learn who are on the short list of the faithfuls to be ripped. That is Jeremy, Sierra, and Nikki. The one thing I kind of think is a little bizarre is the fact that everyone is so convinced that a traitor was put into the coffin. Like, yes, that is something that traitors have done in the past, but like, to me, it's not a guaranteed thing. I don't know. I just feel like everyone is so sure that whoever is left, one of them's a traitor or both. And I just am like, guys, like, think that through just a little bit more. So everyone goes to bed, and then Jeremy is laid to rest. I think that taking out Jeremy was a good idea, especially out of the 3, because then again, it put the magnifying glass on Nikki and Sierra. I feel bad for both of them, especially because Sierra is like my girl, and I had a lot of hope for her, especially because she hasn't really been rocking the boat too much. So the fact that they just kind of threw her out there sucks for her, because now everyone just thinks it's her when it's not, you know? I am a little bit thrown off by the Bambi's reaction to the one faithful saying to them that they think Nikki is the traitor. They didn't really defend her that much. And in fact, Gabby in the confessional was just kind of like, you know, I don't think she's a traitor, but I really haven't thought about it. And I just don't really want her to go yet because I really like her. And I'm like, well, I just feel like if that was my friend or like my group that we had like made a truce with, I would be so, I don't know, maybe not offended, but I'd be really disappointed that it took one person being like, I think it's Nikki, for her to be like, oh, maybe. Yeah, I just defend your girl a little more. Come on. However, I do think that's going to probably keep Gabby around because she is so easy to sway. I think the traitors are going to use her as a pawn. I think the faithfuls are going to use her as a pawn. So who knows? She might make it to the end because she's so easy to sway. You never know with this type of show. But yeah, immediately everyone is like, Sierra or Nikki or both are traitors. And so people just keep going around. They're talking about it. I think it's hilarious that Carolyn feels so badly about killing off Jeremy. She's got a good heart. She feels like, you know, they had a truce going, they had a little clique going, and she feels awful for betraying that. And it makes me like her even more, but I just thought it was very funny how seriously, like, she is taking these betrayals. Also during breakfast, it is brought up that Nikki could hear who was walking by, and she mentioned that one of the traitors walked very lightly. And I think, once again, Bob and Danielle are just doing way too much. Like, just way, way too much. They're asking too many questions. They're being too loud. It's just, y'all are just bringing the spotlight on yourselves when you don't need to be. And it's just a little bizarre. And like, even Nikki was like, the way Danielle was coming for me or asking me all these questions, that threw up a red flag. And it's like, well, yeah. So then comes on the mission. The Traitors missions, a lot of the time, I'm just kind of like blanking out, dissociating, because I like the drama of the show, you know? So it's like the missions kind of are just something to fill up time a lot of the time. Some are really good or really funny, but I'm not as interested in it. But there were a few funny things that occurred, like when Gabby called out the men for just leaving the women behind. She's like, we are the mother of your children, the voice of reason, and you're leaving us behind. Love her for that, genuinely. I did really feel bad for Sierra at the end when she was like, can't you put my head up there, please? Like, everyone thinks that I am a traitor and I am not. I would like to get saved. To me, that would have right there if I was a faithful, I would have been like, okay, no, she's a faithful. Like, she is livid that she's not getting a shield. That would be a huge indicator to me, but what do I know? Once again, too, though, the mission saving 10 people or 10 people getting a shield is so much. Like, previous seasons, there would maybe be 1, 2, or tops 3 shields available. So the fact that they're giving so many shields this season is definitely very interesting to me. I kind of like, I don't know, it's definitely odd. I guess it's another way of mixing up the gameplay and kind of forcing the traitors' hands to maybe kill off people they weren't intending to originally. I like it better when it's like 1 or 2 and it's like secret, because then that's a way for the faithfuls to kind of suss out a traitor or 2, which I like. But here we are. Now, the one big mistake that occurs during this mission, at the end of the mission, is the fact that Bob the drag queen says, out of the 3 men who joined later, we know at least one of them has to be a traitor. While I think that that should be a thought process anyway, like if I was playing the game and I was a faithful, I would 100% think one of the 3 was a traitor. As I said in a previous episode where I was like, it kind of sucks for those 3 guys because they're already kind of being put out there by just being 3, you know? So, but Bob saying that was actually so insane. As I said in my last video, like, Bob the drag queen keeps saying stuff that they don't need to say. He does not need to be saying that much. He keeps choosing to, you know? It's like, I don't understand why he chooses to do that. And he kind of acted like later, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe Rob threw me under the bus. But it's like, you very much threw Rob under the bus. So I don't know what you were expecting there. That's my biggest gripe with Bob the drag queen. Like, I was really excited when they were, you know, picked to be a traitor, but they're too loud. They're too obvious. They put their foot in their mouth over and over and over again, especially to put the thought of Rob in people's minds was a mistake, because Rob, as we know, historically is a killer and he will come for your throat. Bob should have seen that one coming, because hello. The traitors get back to the castle and immediately Rob is like, all right, I need to start getting people on board for Bob the drag queen. And initially Rob's approach was, okay, I'm just going to go whisper in people's ears. I'm just going to get them on the case. I'm going to let Dylan know that he's not alone in this, you know, thought process. So then Dylan will be more likely to bring up Bob the drag queen during the round table. And that was a good approach. It did work. Obviously, some people were still stuck on Nikki and some people were still stuck on Sierra. However, it was clear that it was leaning towards Bob. So they get to the round table. Once again, if you pay attention to Bob the drag queen at any point during these episodes, she looks real guilty. Like, at the round table, she's sitting there like this. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? The round table goes through. They bring up Nikki. They bring up Sierra. And then Rob realizes that no one else has brought up Bob the drag queen, including Dylan. So Rob has to do it. I feel like he had to do it because if they would have left the round table and Bob the drag queen was still around, I think that talk would have gotten back to Bob the drag queen and she would have found out that, oh, Rob is campaigning against me. By Rob bringing up Bob the drag queen, he is now on people's radar because he was so positive, obviously because he's a traitor, but he was so positive that Bob the drag queen was a traitor. So unfortunately, That's not great. I love how Bob the Drag Queen's like, I swear to God. I genuinely thought that Bob, when Bob was, voted out and was revealing himself to be a traitor, I thought that when he was like, I tell one truth, one lie kind of thing, or one truth, no lie, I thought that he was going to go the route of like leaving a call out to Rob, similar to what Tony did. Now Rob's got 2 dings on him, and I just think, ugh, that's not good. Especially now too, because the other 2 traitors don't trust him, and they will, given the chance, get him out. I think next week is definitely going to be interesting. I think there's going to be a lot of infighting with the traitors. I think that if I was Rob, I would try and put as much focus on Sierra as possible, because Sierra already has the focus on her. If I was Rob, I would I would set her up to look shady, because honestly, it wouldn't take a lot, because people already are questioning her. You just need to put just a little seed, plant a little seed, and I think she could be up for grabs, and then therefore saving himself. If he can survive the next episode, he's much better off of surviving to the end. But I do think he's going to have a rough time next episode. Unless all 3 of the guys who came in together are at the end, he's going to have a rough time of it, because the group does now think, okay, one of those 3 guys who came in late are a traitor. So there's that. I kind of am wondering if the Bambi group is going to turn on each other at some point, just because of how quickly Gabby and Chrishell kind of were like, oh, maybe. Or not even Gabby was like, oh, maybe. Chrishell was just like, they just didn't defend Nikki enough. So I could see there being trouble in paradise there. The fact that Tom Sandoval's still on the show is something, but I also feel like everyone's like, this man's clearly not a traitor, so it's easy to keep him around till closer to the end and then use him as a pawn. But I, again, don't think he will be winning. Either way, I'm really excited with the way that this season's going. I think it's definitely interesting, and I'm excited to see how everything goes down. And I'm really excited to see, too, if they bring in a new traitor like they typically do every season, and who it's going to be. I kind of think it's going to be Dylan, but we will see. What did y'all think about this episode? Did you think that Bob deserved to get voted off? And who do you think is going to get voted off next week? Let me know in the comments. And stay tuned, as I will be recapping every episode of Traitors this season. Bye.